Hello guys and welcome back. Let's move on to do some more adjustment to our shape. Now one thing I want to start as soon as possible is the neck. So that's also gonna give me a chance to show you the masking functionality in ZBrush. So let me make my brush a little bit smaller. While holding down Control and draw on the model, you can see I'm having a darker color over here. Okay, this darker color is a mask. When something is masked, then it can no longer be changed. Like if I try to sculpt something with the clip build up, you can see that part is protected. Okay, let me Control Z to go back. To invert the mask, you can hold down Control and click in this empty space. Okay, and then you can see you can now sculpt the neck area. Okay, I can use Move Brush to move it down. I make my brush really big and do that. Okay. Or if I want to just use a gizmo, I can also do that by using this move here. It's W button as the shortcut. What this move allows you to do is drag gizmos to drag things down. Okay, it's a little bit easier. Okay. And scale and rotation, they give you the same gizmo, so I don't see any difference between these three. Just use one of them, which is W button for move, and scale for E, R for rotation. And to go back to sculpting, you can then hit the Q button. Okay. To clear the mask, you can hold down Control and drag in this empty space to clear the mask. Okay. And some more operations. If you have a mask here and you're thinking, okay, this mask is too soft, I want it to be sharper, you can hold down Control and Alt together, and you click on the model. You can see it's getting sharper. Holding Control only and click on the model to make it softer. Okay. There are other operations you can try underneath the masking somewhere here. You can see you can do inverse the mask, right? You can do blur the mask, you can do sharpen the mask. That's something we already know how to do with shortcuts. But you can also grow the mask and then shrink the mask, right? There are many operations you can do, and there are other ways to mask automatically, like mask by AO, by cavity. Right? A lot of cool things you can do with masking, but let's just leave those for later. Okay, let me close that and Control and drag to clear the mask. Okay. Now we have a neck, but you can see there's something really weird over here. You can see a lot of weird geometry is showing up. Okay, to see what actually the underneath geometry is, you can turn on the wireframe or polyframe. The shortcut is Shift F, so Shift F to toggle this. You can see while the geometry on the face is nice and even, you can see the geometry here are stretched. Okay. Now, if you go back through the history, you can see, well, the reason for that is because we're dragging these guys downwards, right? So that's why that part is stretched. Okay. So to fix that, we can do a Dynamesh. Dynamesh is underneath geometry, and then Dynamesh. It's already turned on because that project we loaded in earlier. This one, you can see it's called Dynamesh, right? It's already have that turned on. If you don't use the use that project, this will be off, but you can just click on that big button to turn it on. Okay. So you can refresh the Dynamesh by holding down Control and drag in the viewport. You can see the model is re-evaluated. You can see the geometry is now nice and even again over here. Okay, cool. So that's one of the powers ZBrush have, which hides the topology away from you when you are doing the basic shape. Okay, so that's Dynamesh. Just be aware that you're probably wondering, okay, isn't the Control and drag cleaning the mask? Because if we have a mask here, right, let me turn off that Control and drag, that's cleaning the mask, right? How on earth does it also do different things? Like, let me drag this corner down a little bit just to show you. You have to change the model a little bit to be able to refresh Dynamesh. How on earth does the same operation re-Dynameshes it, right? How does it do that? The difference is you do have a mask before. When there is a mask, you Control and drag, it does clear the mask. But if you don't have a mask and you have the model changed and control and drag, you can see it's re-dynameshing it. Okay, control and go back, control Z, go back. All right, so this kind of like operation happens a lot in ZBrush with different things. In different situations, the same operation, the same key combination and mouse movement and clicking may do different things. Okay, just get used to that. Let me turn off the polyframe. All right, and I'm still having those weird surface results, and that's also a perfect time I show you how to do smoothing. Holding down Shift while drag on the model or pen on the model, you can see now you're smoothing the geometry. Okay. All right. So let me use Move Brush and just fine-tune the shape of the head from the side view. Okay. Smooth that connection out. And from the front view, I can also drag the neck to push it in a little bit and push it out at the bottom, just to give it some nice looking arc. Okay. So it's thinner in the middle and gets bigger on the side. All right. And I can also see this part is really round, really sharp. It's not round enough. I can use the clay build up, make my brush smaller, holding down Alt while sculpt to push it in. Alt button is the offset operation of the default setting of the brush. So if you don't holding down Alt, you're painting outwards, right? If you're holding down Alt, you're pushing them in. Okay, let me then smooth out this area. Okay, cool. All right, now let me make my brush bigger and go back to move. I'm gonna tweak the shape of the head a little bit more. With the neck created, it's easier to see what's going on. All right. Now for the structure of the human face, you can think of it as a side face and a front face. That's when it's a good time. I'm going to show you the edge polish, right? Which is the Alt 2 as my shortcut. This edge polish allows you to define faces. So if you start sculpting with edge polish, you can see edge polish. You can see you're basically defining a plane. Right? Plane is a powerful tool. That's how artists understand shape, right? We're not understanding shape with remembering like how this arc is exactly arcing, but rather a bunch of different planes wrap around the geometry to understand the bigger picture of the geometry. Okay, so after that plane, you can see I have this area. I'm using mask to show you that, but you can see this is the side of the face. Okay, it actually goes all the way to the top, and then you have the front part, and the division will be where the cheekbone is. You have the cheekbone, you have the chin, right? The 2 points at the bottom of the chin. That's the division part. Okay. Let me control click to drag to clear the mask. Control drag to clear the mask. Now this is not a specific anatomy class, so we're not going to go deep. But one thing you do need to aware is that although we understand the shape with planes, but they are arcs, right? They are smooth surfaces. So after you have that basic plane, you smooth them out. You can use edge polish to do that. Just polish around it, okay, around that harsh edge, just like what I did earlier. Let me use move to refine where the chin is. Okay. And holding down shift also to smooth it out. You can see I'm getting a better looking bottom part of the face. Let me also drag the corner down a little bit. Okay. Cool. And I can do the same thing on the top just to define the side face on the top area. Okay. You can see I have this face and that face, right? Or I can draw a line here, and then I have one face going this way and one more face going this way. And that's where the cheekbone is. And then it connects back with the bridge and connect to the ear, basically. Okay. All right. Let me clear the masking. And let's spend some time, right, on your model. Make sure that you can find those 3 planes, the front, bottom side, and top side, those 3 big areas. Find out where the cheekbone is and where this edge is. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna wait for a little while, maybe 2 or 3 seconds. So you can do it. Alright, welcome back. So one more thing I want to do before we wrap up this class, let me actually drag the corner out, is the damp center brush, which is BDS or whatever shortcut you give it already. Damp center allows you to define a crease, and that's really helpful when I want to define the corner of the jaw. I can use damp center to draw out where does it ends up, right over here, and I can smooth it out afterwards. I can use move to drag it forward a little bit. It's more or less in the middle. Okay. Alright. Now one more really useful brush, which is the chisel brush. You go to brush and say there is a chisel 3D. Okay. The reason I want you to try this is because it does have some pre-built structure already, and one of the difficult things people always have is the ear. So let's click on the ear. Okay. And back here you can draw out a ear. Okay. So that's going to give you an ear to work with already. I think I don't like the positioning. I think it should be a little bit more towards the back. So let me do that again. Oops, actually from the other angle. Okay. So we can have the basic ear shape blocked out. Now it's important to have the ear as soon as possible on the face. So you can see the problem. I can see now my arc here doesn't feel right. So I'm going to Control Z to go back and push this part in a little bit more. Okay, and go to the top view. You can see now the head looks like it's bigger on the back and smaller in the front. Okay, to figure out those details, those bigger structures when you're building your character, that is really important. Let me go to the chisel 3D again and use the ear. Right, go to the side view and drag out the ear one more time. I think it should be a little bit more towards the back. So basically the ear is connected to the jaw from the side of the face. It's growing from there. Okay. Alright. Cool. And then I can maybe refine the shape a little bit more. Maybe make the ear grow out just a little bit more. Okay. And then I can Control drag to dynamesh it to re-evaluate the surface and recreate the geometry. Alright, that's quite something already. So we're gonna break the video here, and in the next one we're gonna advance more with the head and features of ZBrush. Okay, see you next time.